Alex and Mia walked slowly through the wide corridor of the Interstellar Academy. The walls shimmered with soft blue light, and strange shapes floated in midair, moving from one room to another. The smell of alien food drifted from a nearby cafeteria, sharp and sweet, making Alex wrinkle his nose. He looked down at the small cage in his hands and smiled. "Ready, Mia?" he whispered. Mia nodded. She was carrying a slightly bigger cage, one that rattled softly with movement inside. Her hair was tied back in a neat braid, and her eyes sparkled with excitement, though she could feel a small flutter of nerves in her stomach. She looked around at the aliens passing by, noticing the way they twisted their heads to watch them. Some had 3 eyes, some had scales, some had thin limbs that bent in ways humans could not imagine. "Look at them," Mia whispered. "They're staring." Alex laughed quietly. "Of course they are. We're from Earth. And we brought our pets." The word pets seemed to confuse some of the aliens. Most of the creatures the aliens kept were either small, quiet, and obedient or dangerous in very obvious ways like claws, teeth, or acid. But humans had a reputation. Alex and Mia knew that. They had read stories about the other species' fear of Deathworlders. The nickname humans had earned across the galaxy because of the harsh conditions they survived back home. Earth had wild animals that could kill humans in minutes, weather that could freeze or burn people, and landscapes that demanded strength, intelligence, and courage. And yet here they were, walking calmly through the crowd, carrying creatures that looked harmless, at least at first glance. The aliens began whispering to each other. One small green creature with 6 legs and antennae scuttled closer, its head twitching. "Do you see them?" it hissed to a taller, purple-skinned student. "Those are the humans. And they brought, what are those things?" "They look ordinary," the taller one said, though its many eyes were wide. "But I heard they train their pets. And these pets follow orders. They're clever. Dangerous." Alex and Mia reached the entrance to the classroom, where the door slid open silently. The room was large, with high ceilings and walls covered in holographic panels showing stars, planets, and moving data streams. Alien students were already seated at strange desks, their limbs folded in ways Alex could barely understand. Some were staring openly now, others pretending not to, and a few were whispering rapidly in languages Alex had never heard. "Here we go," Mia muttered under her breath, gripping her cage handle tightly. Alex nodded and opened his cage just a little to peek inside. A small creature with soft brown fur and bright, intelligent eyes looked up at him. Its ears twitched and it made a soft chirping sound like a tiny bird. Alex smiled. "Hey Sparky," he said. The creature hopped forward onto his shoulder, landing lightly without disturbing him. Mia carefully opened her cage next. A slightly larger creature with stripes like a tiny tiger poked its head out and sniffed the air. "Tilly," Mia whispered. "Easy now." Tilly stepped out and padded softly to Mia's side, sitting calmly as if it had been in this room 1,000 times before. The alien students stared. Some gasped softly, while others made clicking or whistling noises, which Alex guessed were expressions of shock. One alien, small and blue with long fingers, leaned over to its neighbor. Are they dangerous?" it whispered. "Probably," the neighbor said, its skin shimmering. "But they look calm. They're not afraid of us." Alex walked slowly to an empty spot in the middle of the room, placing his cage on the floor. Sparky perched on his shoulder, twitching its ears and sniffing the air curiously. Mia set her cage down beside him, and Tilly sat obediently, tail curling around her feet. The humans looked around at the classroom full of alien students, who were now giving them space, moving carefully like they didn't want to provoke the pets. Professor Lin, a tall, silver-skinned alien with long limbs and 4 glowing eyes, entered the room and clapped its hands. The sound echoed oddly and many of the alien students jumped slightly. "Welcome, new students," Professor Lin said in a voice that carried easily across the room. "I see we have Earthlings among us today. Let's begin by introducing everyone." Alex and Mia stepped forward, bowing slightly. "I'm Alex," he said in clear, calm tones. "This is Mia. And these are our pets, Sparky and Tilly." The word pets caused another wave of murmurs across the room. Some of the aliens tilted their heads, while others whispered in hurried tones to each other. Alex noticed and grinned. That was exactly the reaction he wanted, curiosity mixed with fear. One alien, a tall green one with a long neck, finally asked the question out loud. "They obey you? Are they trained?" Alex shrugged casually. "Yes, they know basic commands. They're well behaved." Sparky chirped in agreement and Tilly let out a soft purr. The aliens froze slightly, their eyes widening even more. Do they bite? A small pink alien squeaked, hiding behind its notebook. Only if we tell them to, Mia said calmly, brushing a hand over Tilly's head. But that doesn't happen. The aliens looked at each other nervously. It was one thing to see humans carrying creatures around, but it was another to see humans completely unafraid of creatures that were clearly capable of harming anyone. Alex noticed a few of them inching their desks back, as if creating more distance between themselves and the humans. As the introductions continued, the humans realized they were the center of attention. The alien students were whispering, pointing, and occasionally staring openly at the pets. Some of the whispers included the words Deathworlders and dangerous, which Alex and Mia had expected. Humans had a reputation after all. Sparky leapt lightly from Alex's shoulder to the desk beside him, sniffing at a floating notebook that projected holographic symbols. Tilly followed Mia, circling her feet carefully, observing the aliens in the room with calm curiosity. Alex could feel the tension in the room and it made him smile. Humans were not just surviving in this galaxy, they were standing out in a way no other species could. Professor Lin continued the introductions, moving from one alien student to another. Many of the aliens seemed uncomfortable, giving the humans a wide berth. Alex noticed some scribbling notes or whispering into small devices, probably sending messages about how strange the humans were. When the introductions were done, Professor Lin clapped its hands again. Now that we know each other, it said, we will begin our first lesson. But, Earthlings, please keep your companions under control. Alex chuckled softly, giving Sparky a little scratch behind the ears. Sparky chirped and flopped onto the desk, staring around at the alien students as if assessing them. Tilly padded quietly around Mia's feet, sniffing cautiously at the floor. The room was a mixture of fear, curiosity, and awe. The humans did not seem afraid. That was what unnerved the aliens the most. Alex and Mia were calm, relaxed, and confident, moving as though they were in their own home. The creatures were calm too, perfectly obedient but clearly aware of their surroundings. A small purple alien whispered to its neighbor, I think they are not just humans. The classroom was quiet for a moment, the alien students still whispering and staring at Alex and Mia. Then, as if on a signal, the humans gently opened the cages. Sparky leapt out first, landing on the floor lightly. Its brown fur shimmered slightly in the soft blue light of the classroom. It stretched its small body and shook its head, then looked up at Alex with bright eyes as if checking for permission. Alex crouched slightly and extended a hand. Easy now, he said softly. Sparky chirped, a high, almost musical sound, and padded calmly to his side. Mia's cage opened next and Tilly emerged. At first she looked like a tiny striped kitten. Her tail flicked once, then twice, and she sniffed the air. But then the alien students noticed something strange. Tilly's claws clicked lightly on the floor, making a sound like tiny hammers hitting metal. Some of the aliens stiffened. A small green student's antennae twitched nervously. It makes noise with its claws, it whispered. Tilly crouched, eyes bright and alert, and then, without warning, leapt onto the desk near Mia. Her small body moved with perfect balance, landing lightly, and then she sat, swishing her tail carefully. One of the purple-skinned aliens gasped. It jumped like that without touching the floor first, it said. Alex smiled. She's careful. You'll get used to it, he said. He reached out and scratched Tilly behind the ears. Tilly purred softly, making a vibrating sound that echoed faintly across the room. Then something even stranger happened. Sparky, usually calm and obedient, began moving around the classroom with surprising speed. His small legs carried him to the center of the floor, and he began sniffing at the floating desks, carefully studying the alien gadgets they held. One alien accidentally dropped a small tool, and Sparky picked it up in his tiny paws, turning it over and clicking his teeth on it. The alien froze in shock. Did it just pick up the tool? A small blue alien whispered, voice trembling. It's intelligent. Alex bent slightly, watching Sparky closely. Sparky, calm, he said, and Sparky immediately dropped the tool and returned to Alex's side. The alien students blinked. Nothing like this had happened in any of their previous classes. Mia looked around, noticing the mix of awe and fear in the classroom. They're worried, she whispered to Alex. I know, Alex replied quietly. And they should be. Then came the shimmer. Tilly's striped fur began to glimmer slightly, as if reflecting the lights in the room in strange patterns. Her eyes seemed to glow a faint green, and a few of the alien students took small steps backward. One of the taller aliens whispered, It's shining? That's not normal. Alex chuckled softly. That's just a reflex. She reacts to light sometimes. Reflex? A small pink alien whispered to its neighbor. It looks like magic. Magic doesn't exist, the neighbor replied nervously. But this is scary. Sparky hopped onto a desk, moving with surprising grace. He sniffed at a floating notebook projecting symbols and numbers. Then he pawed at the holographic display, rearranging some of the symbols accidentally. The aliens gasped. One of the green students muttered, It understands things. It's clever. Alex looked at the alien students, noticing their panic beginning to spread. Calm, he said gently, and both Sparky and Tilly obeyed instantly, returning to their human sides. The sudden obedience did not reassure the aliens, it only made them more nervous. A small, nervous voice squeaked from the back of the room. They follow you? Just like servants? Mia shook her head. Not servants, she said softly. They're pets. They're friends. And they're trained. That's all. The aliens looked at each other nervously. None of them had pets like this. Most alien species either had creatures that were dangerous and untamed or very small, boring, and useless creatures. But humans trained creatures that were strong, fast, clever, and obedient. Creatures that could survive on harsh planets, creatures that could defend humans, creatures that could even understand simple instructions. Do they bite? Asked a small violet-skinned alien, voice trembling. Alex smiled gently. Only if we tell them to. But we don't do that here. The aliens stared at Sparky and Tilly, who were now sitting calmly at the humans' feet. Their eyes were bright, alert, and intelligent, and yet they showed no aggression. The alien whispered almost to itself, They're perfect. Then Tilly did something unexpected. She patted lightly across the floor, weaving between the alien students' desks. She stopped in front of a green student and tilted her head, staring at it curiously. The alien froze, unsure what to do. Tilly's tail flicked once, then twice, and she made a soft chirping sound. The alien tried to move, but Tilly followed every small movement, her bright eyes tracking it carefully. Alex called her back. Tilly, come. She obeyed instantly, sitting at Mia's side. The alien exhaled slowly, trembling. Sparky, meanwhile, began sniffing the edges of the classroom. His small body moved quickly but with surprising grace. He jumped onto a floating shelf and examined strange alien gadgets, tapping them gently with his tiny paws. Several aliens gasped as they watched him. One of the taller students, a purple-skinned alien with multiple eyes, whispered nervously, They're not afraid of anything. Look at them, they just move wherever they want. Mia smiled quietly. They're used to danger, she said. Back home they have to be. The aliens stared, whispering in their own languages. A small green student whispered to its neighbor, I heard. Deathworlders survive planets that kill most other species in minutes. They train creatures that can do anything. And they're calm. Unafraid. Even in a room like this. Alex noticed the nervous glances. He crouched slightly and extended a hand toward Sparky. Stay, he said. Sparky immediately returned and sat at Alex's feet. Tilly curled around Mia's ankles. The sudden obedience did not calm the aliens. They just looked more confused and intimidated. Then Sparky did something extraordinary. A small floating device in the classroom, used for projecting holograms, slipped from its mount and began spinning in the air. Some of the alien students panicked, stepping back. Without hesitation, Sparky leapt into the air, catching the device gently in his paws and setting it down safely. The aliens gasped loudly. Did it just save the device? One squeaked. Yes, Alex said calmly, scratching Sparky's head. He's careful. He knows what he's doing. Tilly nudged Mia's hand and purred. They're amazing, Mia whispered. They really are. The aliens were frozen in awe and fear. For the first time in years, a classroom full of students from across the galaxy were staring at humans, and their pets, unable to comprehend what they were seeing. Earthlings, a small blue alien murmured. They are different. Yes, another whispered. They are something else. Alex and Mia exchanged quiet smiles. They had expected this reaction. Humans were not just survivors, they were remarkable. The pets were extensions of that brilliance. And now, for the first day in this strange classroom on a distant planet, the humans and their pets were making an unforgettable impression. The classroom remained silent for several long moments. Professor Lin's voice echoed across the classroom, calm yet firm. Today we will begin a teamwork exercise, it said, its 4 glowing eyes scanning the room. You will be divided into groups and asked to complete a series of puzzles and challenges using the devices in this classroom. Cooperation is essential. The alien students murmured among themselves. Some looked excited, some anxious, and a few, particularly the smaller ones, trembled slightly. When Professor Lin's gaze rested on Alex and Mia, the humans simply smiled, as calm as ever. Their pets, Sparky and Tilly, sat quietly by their sides, alert but obedient. The professor clapped its long hands together, and panels on the walls shifted, projecting glowing symbols, devices, and objects into the air. Each group was assigned a station. Alex and Mia moved to an empty station near the middle, and the aliens reluctantly formed groups around the other stations. "Remember," Professor Lin said, "the first group to solve the puzzle will demonstrate effective teamwork. Creativity and caution are rewarded equally." Alex glanced at Mia. "Ready?" he whispered. Mia nodded. "Let's show them how it's done." Sparky leapt from Alex's shoulder onto the nearest table. His small paws moved with surprising precision, nudging levers, pushing floating blocks, and tapping buttons. The alien students nearby froze, whispering to each other. Is that allowed?" A small green alien asked its neighbor, eyes wide. "It's helping them." The neighbor shook its head. "I don't think anyone has ever seen pets do this in class before." Mia laughed softly. "Come on, Tilly, help them out," she said. Tilly immediately padded across the table, her small claws clicking on the surfaces. She nudged blocks into place, pressed buttons in the correct sequence, and even tapped lightly at a spinning holographic puzzle until it aligned perfectly. The aliens gasped. A tall, orange-skinned alien's eyes widened. They're solving it faster than we can," it whispered. Alex chuckled, scratching Sparky behind the ears. "They've practiced," he said casually. "They're good at this." The other alien students tried to focus on their puzzles, but it was difficult. Every time they looked over, Sparky or Tilly was moving with calm precision, completing tasks that the aliens had been struggling with for minutes. Some of the smaller aliens whispered nervously to each other, glancing at the humans' pets as if expecting them to do something dangerous at any moment. One alien tried to redirect its group's attention. "Focus. Don't watch them. We can do this ourselves." But even as the words left its mouth, Sparky nudged a floating panel into place, solving a small part of the puzzle. The alien froze, eyes wide, unable to believe what had just happened. Tilly leapt lightly from table to table, her striped fur shimmering faintly under the blue lights. She nudged floating blocks and adjusted spinning holograms with soft clicks of her claws. The other aliens muttered to each other, whispering words like impossible and dangerous. Mia watched with quiet amusement. "They're fast," she said softly. "But we just need a little more patience." Alex nodded. "Let's see how they handle the next step." The next part of the exercise involved moving energy cubes across a floating path while avoiding traps that could reset the puzzle. Most alien students struggled immediately, some panicking as the cubes slipped or floated into wrong positions. But Sparky and Tilly moved with careful precision. Sparky nudged cubes along the correct path, while Tilly jumped lightly to adjust others mid-air, keeping them balanced. The aliens were stunned. One purple-skinned alien whispered, They're thinking faster than we are. They know what to do without even being told." "Yes," another whispered. "It's unnatural." Alex smiled faintly. "They're not unnatural," he said to Mia. "They just adapt quickly. That's all." As the exercise continued, small incidents happened. A floating cube tipped, spinning dangerously in midair. Several aliens flinched, unsure what to do. Sparky leapt into action, catching the cube and placing it carefully on the path. Tilly followed, nudging a smaller cube into position with her claws. The aliens around them gasped in unison. "Are they controlling the puzzle?" a nervous green alien asked, whispering to its neighbor. Mia laughed quietly. "Not controlling," she said. "They're helping. That's all." Alex noticed that the other groups were falling behind. Some alien students were trying to mimic what the humans were doing, but their movements were slow, hesitant, and filled with doubt. Every time they looked at the pets, they became more distracted, whispering nervously. The humans, however, remained calm, giving simple commands and letting the pets work naturally. A small blue alien muttered to itself, I don't understand. They're fearless. Their pets obey them perfectly. And they're humans." The pace of the humans group continued to impress. Sparky adjusted a floating panel, turning a complex shape into the correct configuration. Tilly tapped a spinning hologram, aligning symbols perfectly. The rest of the aliens could only stare, mouths slightly open, unable to comprehend how quickly the humans and their pets were completing the challenge. Professor Lin observed silently from the front of the classroom, its glowing eyes following every movement. A few of the other alien students noticed its gaze, whispering in awe. "Even the professor is impressed," one said. They are extraordinary." Mia noticed an alien struggling to move a cube along the path. "Here," she said gently, nudging Tilly. Tilly leapt over and nudged the cube, helping it slide smoothly into place. The alien gasped, eyes wide, and stepped back, unsure how to react. Why do they do that?" the alien whispered to its neighbor. "Why do the humans' pets follow them so perfectly?" Alex smiled faintly. "Because they trust them," he said softly. "And they know what to do." As the exercise neared completion, the humans group was clearly ahead. Sparky and Tilly worked with quiet efficiency, finishing each part with calm precision. Alex and Mia did not rush them, they simply guided them when necessary. The other alien students tried desperately to catch up, but the humans' combination of clever thinking and capable pets was too much. Whispers of Deathworlders and dangerous floated around the room. Some aliens glanced nervously at their own classmates, realizing they had underestimated humans. Finally, the last part of the puzzle arrived. A large floating device that required multiple inputs simultaneously. The other alien groups hesitated, unsure how to coordinate. Sparky leapt lightly onto the device, pressing buttons in perfect timing. Tilly followed, nudging levers and rotating components. The device hummed, then clicked, and a small panel lit up green, signaling success. The humans group finished the exercise first. Mia clapped her hands lightly. "Well done, Tilly." "Good job, Sparky," she said. Both pets chirped happily and returned to the humans' sides, tails flicking and ears twitching. The aliens around them were silent, staring in disbelief. One small green alien whispered, They finished before anyone else, and their pets helped." Professor Lin's voice finally broke the silence. "Impressive," it said. "It seems the humans have a very effective way of working with their companions. Let this be a lesson to all. Teamwork comes in many forms." Alex and Mia simply smiled, watching the aliens process what had just happened. Sparky and Tilly sat calmly as if nothing remarkable had occurred. A tall purple alien muttered to its neighbor, voice shaking slightly, I never thought a human and their pets could be this effective." "Yes," the neighbor whispered. "They're different. They're extraordinary." Mia laughed softly, watching the aliens' reactions. "They're just pets," she said quietly. "But, yeah, they are amazing." Alex nodded. "And humans, we're not afraid of anything. That makes all the difference." By the end of the exercise, the classroom was buzzing with whispers. The humans and their pets had not only completed the challenges faster than anyone else, but they had done so with calm confidence that the alien students could not match. Every creature in the room, every alien, was now aware of something important. Humans were not ordinary. They were clever, fearless, and entirely unpredictable. Sparky jumped onto Alex's shoulder, chirping happily. Tilly curled around Mia's feet, purring softly. The humans looked around at the class full of wide-eyed aliens, all murmuring among themselves. Alex and Mia exchanged quiet smiles, knowing they had made a lasting impression. And as the aliens whispered about humans, Deathworlders, and dangerous pets, the classroom settled into an uneasy but awed silence. For the first time, the other students realized that humans and their companions were not just another species. They were extraordinary, calm, clever, and impossible to underestimate. The classroom was still buzzing with whispers after the teamwork exercise. The alien students were quiet now, still staring at Sparky and Tilly as if they had never seen creatures so calm, clever, and obedient. Alex and Mia were settling in, their pets at their sides, when suddenly a sharp hiss echoed from one of the floating experimental devices near the center of the room. A small leak had formed. Tiny sparks began dancing in the air, crackling softly. At first, it seemed harmless, just a minor error in the energy system. But the aliens did not see it that way. The sparks reflected in their wide, many-colored eyes, and they froze in fear. Some of the smaller aliens even climbed onto their desks, trembling. "Stay calm," Alex called, his voice steady. His hand shot out, patting Sparky on the back. Sparky chirped, ears twitching, and immediately jumped into action. His small body moved with incredible speed, landing on the floor near the leaking device. With tiny, precise movements, he nudged levers and buttons, stopping the flow of sparks and stabilizing the equipment. Tilly followed, leaping from Mia's side to the desk. Her claws clicked on the panels as she adjusted small components, pressing the right buttons at the right time. Sparks flickered dangerously near her paws, but she moved with perfect balance, completely unafraid. The aliens gasped, some stepping back as if the pets were dangerous weapons rather than helpers. One small green alien whispered to its neighbor, voice shaking, They're controlling it. They're saving everyone. Yes, another replied. And they're not scared at all. Alex crouched slightly, watching his pets work. Good job, Sparky, he said softly, scratching the little creature behind the ears. Sparky chirped in response, then darted to a panel on the other side, twisting a lever just enough to redirect energy safely. Mia leaned down to Tilly. Careful, girl, she whispered. Tilly gave a soft chirp and immediately adjusted her movements, pressing buttons with perfect precision while avoiding any stray sparks. The aliens were frozen in awe. None of them had seen anything like this. Most of the species in the classroom relied on technology or brute strength to solve problems, but the humans' pets were doing both with intelligence and speed. They were calm, fearless, and efficient. A tall purple-skinned alien muttered under its breath, eyes wide. They train them and they listen. Yes, a smaller orange alien whispered back, its antennae twitching nervously. And they trust them completely. How can that be? The sparks continued to hiss, but the pets handled them with ease. Sparky nudged a panel that was starting to tilt dangerously, balancing it before it could fall. Tilly leapt to another, tapping it into alignment. Within seconds, the small leak had been fully contained. The sparks stopped, the device hummed steadily, and the classroom fell silent, save for the soft breathing of the students. Alex stood and brushed some dust off his sleeves. All done, he said casually. Sparky chirped and returned to his shoulder. Tilly curled around Mia's feet, tail flicking lightly. The aliens could hardly believe their eyes. The tall purple alien whispered again, barely audible, They control them, perfectly. They obey them completely. Mia shook her head slightly, smiling. They're not just obedient, she said softly. They're smart. They know what to do. Some of the smaller aliens were still trembling. One tiny pink alien whispered, I didn't think pets could do that. Yes, another green alien said. We never imagined it. On our planet, pets are weak or dangerous. But these are perfect. Alex noticed the awe in their expressions and smiled faintly. Humans and their companions had always been underestimated. From Earth's harsh planets to the stars, humans had adapted to everything. They had learned to survive in worlds where the air could burn, the water could freeze instantly, and predators could kill in seconds. And their pets, they were trained the same way. Calm, clever, and fearless. Professor Lin stepped forward, eyes glowing faintly. It seems, it said slowly, that humans and their companions are exceptional. You have demonstrated, not just skill but intelligence, coordination, and courage. A lesson in teamwork for all species present. The aliens whispered among themselves. A tall orange-skinned alien shook its head, muttering, They make it look easy. But it isn't easy. Nothing like that is easy. Exactly, a smaller blue alien said. And they're not even afraid. That's what makes them different. Mia crouched down and patted Tilly. See, she said quietly. You're amazing. Tilly chirped softly in response, tail flicking. Sparky jumped down from Alex's shoulder to the floor, circling him happily. The aliens could not stop staring. Some were still whispering nervously, others were frozen in place. One green alien finally spoke aloud, voice trembling. How can pets be so clever? And not scared. Alex smiled faintly. They've learned to survive, he said simply. They know when to act and they know who to trust. That's all. The class slowly returned to normal, but the impression remained. The humans had shown something the aliens had never seen before. Calmness under pressure, intelligence in every action, and the ability to work with their companions in ways that were almost impossible to comprehend. A small violet alien whispered to its neighbor, I think I understand now. Humans, Deathworlders, they survive everything. And they teach their companions the same. That's why they're so fearless. Yes, another replied quietly. And that's terrifying. Alex and Mia watched the aliens quietly, their pets at their sides. I think we made a good impression, Mia said softly. Alex chuckled. Understatement of the century, he replied. Sparky chirped from his shoulder as if agreeing. Tilly purred lightly beside Mia, flicking her striped tail in satisfaction. The aliens were still whispering nervously. Some glanced around the classroom, eyes wide, realizing that humans were not ordinary students. They were extraordinary. Humans were fearless. Humans were clever. And humans' pets, well, they were almost as incredible as their owners. Even Professor Lin seemed impressed. Let this be a lesson to all students, it said slowly. Never underestimate a human. And never underestimate their companions. The classroom settled into a quiet buzz of murmurs and nervous whispers. The humans and their pets had faced danger, minor, harmless danger, and handled it perfectly, calmly, and efficiently. The aliens realized slowly that humans were different. They were clever, fearless, and impossible to predict. Their pets were just as remarkable, trained, and intelligent, responding to the humans' commands instantly, yet acting with their own judgment when necessary. Alex patted Sparky again. "Good job," he said softly. Sparky chirped proudly and returned to his shoulder. Mia scratched Tilly behind the ears. "Well done," she whispered. Tilly purred and curled around Mia's feet. The aliens whispered among themselves, astonished. "They trained them, and they listen," one repeated. "Yes," another replied. "And they're humans. That's the most frightening part." And in the calm after the chaos, the humans and their pets had proven something unmistakable. They were not only survivors but extraordinary. The classroom had quieted down after the events of the day. The aliens were still murmuring to one another, whispering nervously, and occasionally glancing toward Alex, Mia, and their pets. The humans were calm, relaxed, and completely unbothered by the attention. Sparky sat proudly on Alex's shoulder, ears twitching every so often, while Tilly curled around Mia's feet, her tail flicking lightly. Some of the smaller alien students peeked cautiously at the humans, then at their pets, then back at their classmates, trying to make sense of what they had witnessed. One small green alien whispered to its neighbor, voice trembling, I didn't know humans could do that. And their pets, they're so clever." "Yes," the neighbor replied softly, still staring. "And fearless. They're not afraid of anything." Alex noticed the nervous whispers but didn't react. He had learned long ago that fear and awe were common reactions when humans demonstrated even a fraction of their abilities. He glanced at Mia and gave a small, quiet smile. "I think they're starting to understand," he said softly. Mia nodded, brushing her hair behind her ear. "I hope so. But I think they're still scared of Sparky and Tilly." The humans and their pets had become the center of attention, not just for their calmness, but because of how naturally they had handled every situation. The teamwork exercise had been completed faster than anyone expected, and the minor spark leak earlier had only strengthened their reputation. Humans weren't just survivors, they were clever, fearless, and perfectly in control of even dangerous situations. Professor Lin floated down to the front of the classroom, its long limbs moving gracefully. Its glowing eyes scanned the room, observing every alien student and the humans with their pets. "It seems," it said slowly, "that the humans and their companions have left a lasting impression on all present. They have demonstrated courage, intelligence, and teamwork beyond expectation." The aliens whispered among themselves again, some looking embarrassed, others wide-eyed in awe. One tall orange-skinned alien muttered quietly, They make it look easy. But I know it isn't easy. Nothing like that is easy." "Yes," a smaller blue alien replied, shivering slightly. "And they're calm. Even in danger. Even with those pets." Mia crouched slightly to scratch Tilly behind the ears. "See," she said softly. "They're learning." Tilly chirped softly and purred, nuzzling Mia's hand. Sparky jumped lightly from Alex's shoulder to the desk, circling him happily, tail flicking. Alex looked around the classroom, observing the aliens' reactions. Many were still whispering, eyes wide. Some looked embarrassed that they had doubted the humans' abilities. Others were still nervous, unsure how to react to the cleverness and calmness of the pets. A small pink alien finally spoke aloud, voice trembling. I never thought humans and their pets could be like this." "Yes," another whispered, voice low. "They're different, fearless, clever, and dangerous in a way I can't explain." Alex smiled faintly. "We're not dangerous," he said quietly. "We're just used to handling things." The alien looked confused. "Handling things?" it asked. "Yes," Mia said softly. "Back on our planet we live with danger. Animals, weather, landscapes, everything tests us. So we learn to stay calm, think fast, and work together. Sparky and Tilly, they've learned the same lessons." The alien stared for a long moment, then whispered to its neighbor, "They survive everything. And they teach their pets the same. That's why they're so calm and fearless." The humans didn't interrupt. They let the aliens realize it for themselves. Part of being a human, they knew, was letting others underestimate you until it was too late. And part of being a good pet owner was letting the pets show their skill while remaining calm and obedient. Professor Lin's voice broke the silence. Let this be a lesson to all students present. Humans are not ordinary. Their abilities and their approach to challenges are remarkable. And their companions reflect their intelligence and courage. The alien students shifted nervously, whispering and looking at one another. Some seemed embarrassed, realizing they had doubted humans. Others were still trembling slightly, unable to stop staring at Sparky and Tilly. Mia noticed a small green alien hiding behind its desk, eyes wide. She crouched down slightly and smiled gently. "They're friendly," she said softly. "Mostly." The alien blinked and hesitated. "Mostly?" it asked. Mia nodded lightly. "Yes. They listen, they help, but they follow their humans. And humans were not afraid. That makes a difference." The alien nodded slowly, understanding beginning to dawn. Humans were different. They were unpredictable, fearless, brilliant, and maybe a little terrifying. Alex and Mia stood together looking around the room. The whispers were still there, but now mixed with admiration. The humans had proven themselves without needing to show off, without raising their voices, without frightening anyone unnecessarily. It was enough that they were calm, capable, and confident. Sparky chirped from Alex's shoulder. Tilly purred at Mia's feet. Both pets had done their part perfectly, responding to situations without hesitation, yet showing personality, intelligence, and a hint of mischief. The aliens could see it all, and it left them awed and a little unsettled. One of the taller aliens, a purple-skinned figure with multiple eyes, finally spoke, voice low but steady. I think I understand now. Humans, Deathworlders, they survive everything. And they teach their companions to survive too. That is why they're so remarkable." "Yes," another alien whispered quietly. "And that is why we should respect them. Fearless, clever, and impossible to predict." Alex glanced at Mia and smiled faintly. "We've done more than just show them our pets," he said quietly. "We've shown them humans." Mia nodded. "And that's enough. They'll remember this day." The aliens continued whispering, slowly moving back to their own desks. Many were still nervous, but admiration and respect were growing. They had seen humans in action, calm under pressure, clever, and capable of handling even dangerous situations with intelligence and composure. The pets had been part of that, but the humans were clearly in charge, guiding and trusting them perfectly. A small violet alien muttered to its neighbor, I never thought humans could be like this. Fearless, clever, and a little terrifying." "Yes," the neighbor agreed quietly. "And their pets, perfect, calm, clever, obedient, and smart. I have never seen anything like it." Alex and Mia exchanged quiet smiles. The humans had arrived at the academy as ordinary students, carrying ordinary-looking pets. But by the end of the day, the aliens had learned something very different. Humans were extraordinary. Clever, brave, calm, and fearless. Their pets were just as impressive, reflecting the humans' intelligence and courage. Sparky chirped happily, hopping down to inspect a floating notebook. Tilly patted lightly around Mia's feet, tail flicking. Alex and Mia watched them with quiet pride. The day had been long, chaotic, and a little stressful, but in the end they had achieved exactly what they wanted. The aliens now knew without a doubt that humans and their companions were remarkable. Professor Lin spoke once more, its voice calm but firm. "Class dismissed. Remember today's lesson. Humans and their companions are exceptional. Learn from their example." The aliens slowly gathered their belongings, still whispering, still staring at the humans and their pets. Alex and Mia walked out of the classroom, Sparky perched on Alex's shoulder and Tilly at Mia's side. The hallway was filled with murmurs, whispers, and nervous glances. As they passed, a small green alien looked up at them and said softly, You're amazing." Alex smiled faintly. "Thanks," he said quietly. "We try." Mia chuckled. "Mostly we just stay calm." The aliens stared, realizing slowly that there was something different about humans. They were clever, fearless, and completely unpredictable. And that made them extraordinary. As Alex and Mia continued down the corridor, the other students whispered behind them, sharing stories and warnings about humans and their pets. The humans didn't mind. They were used to it. Across the galaxy, humans had always been underestimated. But now, even in a distant classroom filled with aliens from dozens of planets, it was clear, humans were remarkable, fearless, brilliant, and yes, maybe a little terrifying. Sparky chirped once more, hopping onto Alex's shoulder. Tilly purred and twined around Mia's legs. Together, the humans and their pets moved forward, leaving a classroom full of wide-eyed, whispering aliens in their wake. The impression they had made would last a long time. For the aliens, one thing was certain: humans were not ordinary. They were extraordinary. And their pets were just as extraordinary.